Shout out to all my new subscribers. Welcome to the channel. Appreciate y'all. Share this video. You've been discussing the Diddy case with somebody in your family, co-workers, family, friends. Send them this video. And this should be another topic y'all could discuss. East New York. East New York 318. Live from New York City. The podcast was sold. We here. Alabama in the building. Dothan, Alabama locked in. The whole world locked in. In case you didn't know, there was a 7-week trial here in New York City. I need y'all to give this video a thumbs up. I need 250 thumbs up right off the bat. Right off the bat. Dry Boat North, what up? I need 250 thumbs up right off the bat. There was a 7-week trial here. Puffy was offered a 30-year plea agreement to not go to trial, to accept responsibility. They said, take these 30 years. It wasn't 15 years. Initially, I had reported that it was 15 years. It was not. It was 30 years. Puffy rejected the plea offer and said, let's go to trial. 53. I need 100 real quick. I need 100 real quick. 100 thumbs up. Give this video a thumbs up. What's up, Lorraine Clark? Give the video a thumbs up. Lorraine, share this video. Puffy said, let's go to trial. Puffy went to trial against the Southern District of New York. Damian Williams at that time was the United States Attorney. He did this big press conference about all this evidence that he had. And he charged Puffy with RICO. He charged Puffy with SEX trafficking. And he also charged Puffy with selling of the body. Damian Williams had this big press conference. Damian Williams was behind the indictment of the mayor of the city of New York, Eric Adams. That case got thrown out. Another Damian Williams special. Damian Williams, I believe, I may be wrong, but he might have been behind the Epstein case. He may have been behind, what's that dude's name? Epstein? I need 100 thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up button. Jeffrey Epstein. That case has gone, that's a circus. Supposedly he took his life in Brooklyn. Or was at I think he was at Manhattan, MDC. Some say he took his life, some say it could have been something else. Ghislaine Maxwell gets sentenced to 20 years. We're gonna release the client list. They don't release the client. A big mess. Another Damian Williams special. Puffy case, Damian Williams special. The Southern District of New York loses at trial. They flat out get beat. They flat out get beat. They flat out get beat. They had 6 United States attorneys, 6 assistant U.S. attorneys led by Maureen Comey, who has since been fired. Another Damian Williams special. Along with the 6 U.S. attorneys, never in the history of the Southern District of New York have they ever had that many prosecutors prosecuting one case like they had in Puffy's case. The most before Puffy was 5. Puffy has 6. Puffy was indicted on a RICO. One man, no co-conspirator. One man RICO. Another Damian Williams special. 6 assistant United States attorneys, 2 other ancillary supervisory attorneys, for a total of almost 8 attorneys against Puff. Puff said, I bet. My money tall. Puff said, yo, my money tall. I got tall dollars. Puff said, I got tall dollars. What's up, lovely peaches? Puff said, I'ma hire me 10 lawyers. I'ma hire me 10 lawyers. Puffy hired 10 lawyers. 10 or 11. It was so many, I couldn't tell. The Southern District of New York just had 1 row. It was 3 rows in front of Judge Submarinian. The Southern District of New York had 1 row. Puffy had 2 rows of lawyers and paralegals. Boom. Everybody working. Everybody working. Everybody getting money. All Puffy's lawyers was working. And Puff was the 12th lawyer. Puffy taking notes. Nigga had the glasses on, head full of gray hair, had the gray afro joint. Puff had the gray afro joint with the mango sweater. One day it was sky blue sweater. One day it was like a mauve khaki color sweater. You understand? He had all these different color sweaters, and he had the dope afro. The afro was gray, and he had some glasses. I don't think you can see that good. He's getting old. I need 250 thumbs up. I need 250. Everybody double tap that screen and give this video a thumbs up. They went to trial. The government called 30-something witnesses, 34, 35, however many it was. It didn't matter. Several of the witnesses got on the stand and perjured themselves. Prior to these witnesses getting on the stand, they were given immunity agreements that required them to tell the truth on the stand in their testimony under the direct examination of the SDNY and under the cross-examination of Puffy. They signed it. A lot of these witnesses had civil lawsuits against Puff totaling about Cassie 20 million, Mia 10 million, Brianna 10 million, Dawn Rashad 7 million. Who else? Somebody else. Mia 20, 30, 40, about $50 million in about $50 million in civil suits against Puff. And one of the requirements was that when they signed these immunity agreements, they had to tell the truth. Otherwise, they could be prosecuted for perjury. Nonetheless, these witnesses got on the stand and they perjured themselves over and over and over and over again. Now, the key is that in these immunity agreements, the one party that gets to decide whether they committed perjury or not and whether they got prosecuted or not was the Southern District of New York. The very witness who they were, the very witnesses of where their civil cases was, and the very body that was prosecuting Puff. Check me out. Check me out. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. That's all I'm gonna do is tell you the truth. I need you to double tap that screen. I need 250 thumbs up. Share this video. They called all their witnesses. Cassie got on the stand, perjury. Dawn Rashad on the stand, perjury. Capricorn Clark on the stand, perjury. Kid Cudi on the stand, perjury. Judge Submarinian. I'm talking to you. Capricorn Clark, perjury, Judge Submarinian. Kid Cudi, perjury, Judge Submarinian. Mia, perjury, Judge Submarinian. Jane Doe, perjury, Judge Submarinian. Cassie, perjury, Judge Submarinian. Kid Cudi, perjury, Judge Submarinian. Jane Doe, perjury, Judge Submarinian. So all of their witnesses got on the stand and committed perjury. 100 grand, what up? But Puffy's legal team, Puffy had the best legal team that money could buy. As I kept telling you throughout the trial, that the 6 assistant U.S. attorneys, Maureen Comey included, was no match for Mark Agnifilo, Tenny Garagos, Brian Steele, Xavier Donaldson, Alexander Shapiro, Jason Driscoll, Nicole Westmoreland, Jonathan Bach, Anna Estebedo. It was not even a fair fight. It was no competition. It was like Puffy's legal team, it was like the Southern District of New York's assistant U.S. attorneys were management trainees, were interns, right? Compared to Puffy's legal team. It wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. Puffy's legal team saved his life, and they destroyed every single witness. Judge Submarinian, you seen it, and I seen it, because I was there with you. You seen it. Yes, you did. Yes, you did, Judge Submarinian. And when Tisa Tells and the 2 black girl reporters from ABC and CBS and all the other black reporters went to the Southern District of New York and went to you and tried to get me kicked out of the courtroom, you understand? Saying that I was the one that broke Mia's anonymity when it was really Tisa Tells. You know I was there. You know me. Everybody that was down there know me. They knew me when I came down here. You know I was here. Everybody knew I was here because I used to see all of the assistant U.S. attorneys. Smizer, Johnson, Maureen Comey, Reddick, Slavic. They would see me out here. They would see me in the courtroom. They would see me in the hallway. They would see me in the elevator. They would see me all out here. All of Puffy's attorneys. They used to see me. Everybody. You knew I was here. I saw the whole trial. Yes, I was here. Yes, I was. Yes, I was. Yes, I was. Right? I'm not like the 3 dudes from that channel, what is it? UNQ or UNZ. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I don't even want to dignify them and say their name. You understand? You got the light-skinned black dude, he high yellow, light bright, damn near white. You know, he was against Puff. Then they got another white dude, he got the gray hair. He was so distraught when Puffy was found innocent. He was like, oh my God, oh my God. And then the dude that owned the channel, the lawyer dude, y'all know what channel I'm talking about? Put that channel in the live chat, what I'm talking about. I can't say their name because they might try something with me. Put that channel in the live chat. Let me see if y'all know what I'm talking about. I think it's UNQ or something like that. Put it in the live chat. Put it in the live chat. There you go. There you go. Pretty good. There you go. That's the one. And then they got the other white dude who was a lawyer. He run the channel, right? They all against Puffy. All 3 of them is against Puffy. They was against Puffy from the door. When the trial first started, all they was reporting was the direct examination. Direct examination. everything the prosecution said. They wasn't covering nothing about the cross. They was never covering the cross. But see, the dude that owned the channel, what's the dude that owned the channel? Put his name in there. The dude that owned the channel, he's a lawyer. My man, he cool with Mark Garagos. Right, that's him. He cool with Mark Garagos. Him and Mark Garagos be on a podcast together. So he kind of alright with Mark. He alright kind of with Mark Garagos, but he against Puff. But then Tenny Garagos is representing Puff, so he conflicted. He's mentally and spiritually conflicted because he got a podcast with my dude, but he want Puffy convicted, but his man on the podcast is the father of the girl represent. So he be on the channel, he be like this, he don't know what to say. You understand? But anyway, all they was reporting in the beginning was the direct examination. Everybody, ABC, CBS, CNN, the black girl from CNN, I used to see her in the courtroom. She was sitting right there. I be sitting right here, she be sitting right there. Then the black dude from NBC, the other black girl from NBC, right? The white girl from Court TV, right? All of them was in there. All of them was in there with me. They was in there with me because I was the best, you understand? So they all just reported, running down on Puff. They all running down on Puff. Send him to jail. He's guilty, guilty. Reporting only the direct examination. But I'm coming out. I need 400 thumbs up. I need 400 thumbs up and share this video. I'm coming out of the courtroom. I'm not only sharing the direct examination, but I'm giving y'all the cross. I gave y'all the cross. I was the one. I was the first one. I was the only one talking about the cross examination. Yes, I was. Yes, I was. I was the only one. I was the only one. I was the only one talking about the cross examination. I was the only one. I was the only one talking about the cross. You understand? Yes, I was. You understand? And everybody was against me. Everybody was against me, and they thought my self-esteem was low and that I needed acceptance and approval from others. But what they don't understand is that I'm arrogant, I'm conceited, right? I got a big ego, and I'm super confident, and I stand on my square alone by myself. I don't need no approval, no acceptance from nobody other than me and who looking back from the mirror. You understand? That's how much I believe in me, right? So I stood on my square. 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 You understand? And as the trial progressed, right? And the Southern District of New York started to look weak. Their case, every day, the Southern District of New York's case got weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. And let me say this. I ain't got no static with nobody personally at the Southern District of New York. I ain't got no static with Jay Clayton. Jay Clayton is the new United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York. He inherited this Damian Williams special, this Damian Williams mess. You understand? So I ain't got no beef, no static with nobody from the Southern District of New York. Personally, there's probably a lot of good people that work there, but y'all got beat. Y'all got beat. Y'all got beat. Puffy's lawyers destroyed y'all. Puffy's lawyers destroyed y'all. Yes, they did. 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 So as I kept reporting the facts, I was reporting the facts. Then everybody started seeing the case, and they started seeing how my numbers was going up. Then all these other channels, what's that channel's name again? UNQ? Somebody put that channel in with the three dudes. The light skinned, the high yellow nigga with the braids, him, and then the other white dude with the gray hairs. So, oh my God. And then, yeah, that one right there, Brandon B, yeah, that one right there. After them niggas saw me, after they saw me, then they started coming toward the middle. Everybody, I shifted the whole paradigm. Yes, I did. I shifted the whole paradigm. Then everybody want to start reporting, you understand, both sides. But at first, everybody was on just run down on Puff, right? So, the Southern District of New York got beat at trial, Judge Submarinian. They got beat. During the jury selection process. During the selection process of the jury, the voir dire, the voir dire, whatever you want to call it, y'all know what I'm talking about, the process where they select the jury. Each side, the prosecution got 9 peremptory strikes, and the defense gets 9 peremptory strikes. So a peremptory strike is when a potential juror comes up, you can strike them down no matter what. You ain't even got to give no reason. But if it's not a peremptory strike, you have to give a reason why you not considering this juror. Maureen Comey and the 6 assistant U.S. attorneys, they used 7 of their 9 peremptory strikes against black jurors. Yes, they did. Because I got the paperwork. Alexandra Shapiro, see, I got my paperwork. I just don't be coming off the top of the dome. I just don't be like these other dudes go on these YouTube channels, you understand, just saying whatever. I come from the documents, you understand? I come from the paperwork. Right? So right off the bat, that's what the Southern District of New York do. 7 of their 9 peremptory strikes, so about 82%. I think if you divide 7 by 9, it's like 81.2% or 81.8%. Somebody do the math on that, see if I'm right. Divide 7 by 9, I think it come up to about 81.8%, something like that. Put it in the live chat. So Puffy's lawyer said, I bet that's what you want to do? Cool, run it. We start going through the trial. We get to week 5, week 6, 77%. I was close enough. We get through week 5, week 6 of the trial. The Southern District of New York gets rid of juror number 6. Judge Submarinian, you saw it because they went to you twice. Judge Submarinian, they went to you twice. And you told us that morning, said, man, I'm not getting rid of juror number 6. Juror number 6 stays. That little thing, just a miscommunication. You know, all that can be reconciled. And you told everybody in the court that morning that juror number 6 was going to stay. That was the black juror. I don't know if he was Foundation American black or Caribbean black or African black or whatever. You understand? But anyway, what's up, bro? What's happening? Yeah, that was the black juror. So in the morning, Judge Submarinian, you was like, nah, he's staying. Then 5 o'clock came, you came out there with a whole nother joint. Oh man, nah, he's out of here. Alexander Shapiro asked for a mistrial. because you changed up on your word, on the stand. You perjured Judge Submarinian, you perjured yourself. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Judge Submarinian perjured himself because in the morning he said the juror was going to stay. Then he went and got the phone call from somebody, and then they got him up out of there. Puffy said, all right, cool. Y'all want to get out like that? Alexander Shapiro asked for a mistrial. No mistrial. I bet. We rock on out. We rock on out to the end. Closing arguments. Mark Agnifilo does a tremendous job. Closes the show like a champ. Puffy gets acquitted. Puffy gets acquitted. Acquitted of RICO. Acquitted of the SEX traffic. Southern District of New York loses at trial. They got beat. Southern District of New York got beat at trial in New York City. This was a huge, huge blow to the image, to the brand, and to the reputation of the Southern District of New York. That Puffy, a jury of his peers, 12 members of the city of New York, acquitted him of the most serious charges. Mark Agnifilo proposed a bail package that day. They denied it. So, what Alexander Shapiro did, right? Here it go right here. Here go the paperwork. Here it go. 62 pages. 62 pages. "62 pages. And in here, see, this is, look, see, this is what I tell you, the difference between elite level lawyers and Dollar Tree assistant U.S. attorneys. This is Puffy's team. This is what they presented as a motion for reconsideration for a new bail package to get Puffy out of jail today. They asked for a Rule 29 motion for a flat-out acquittal, and if we can't get the Rule 29, we want a Rule 33. We want a new trial so we can beat y'all again at another trial. We already done beat y'all one time, so it ain't nothing to beat you again. Set up the new trial. Set up a new trial. We're gonna beat you again. We're gonna beat you again. But anyway, this is what Puffy's legal team put together with all kind of precedents, all kind of cases. You understand? That the Mann Act, Judge Submarinian, and you know this. And you gotta stop being scared, Judge Submarinian. Stand up and be a man. You a man first before you a judge now. You got to be a man. If you say you a man, then you got to be a man. The Mann Act should only be charged and instituted according to DOJ policy when it's for commercial sex. Meaning a dude comes out and gives money and pays to have intercourse with a woman. Then that individual is engaging in legal prostitution. Okay? Now, this is normally reserved for pimps, brothels, madams, call girl houses, that kind of thing. What Alexander Shapiro and Puffy's legal team detail in here is that Puffy's First Amendment right is to, if he wants to record him and his girlfriend having a sexual experience with another person, another man in Puffy's case, of which Puffy did not engage. Puffy's standing over here. So Cassie is here with whoever. It was so many. Cassie let so many dudes hit it, we don't know. So Cassie is getting busy with the male escort, so that's between them. Puffy is not even involved in the act, and it talks about that in here. How could Puffy be charged with prostitution and he over here? Puffy chilling over here. Puffy chilling over here. He like right here. Watch it. Go ahead, move over. Hold up. Stop. Put your leg up. Put your leg up on the table. All right, put some more baby oil on. Put some more. All right. Turn the music up. Turn the music up. Puffy chilling back here. Puffy chilling back there. He's not even involved in the experience. Right? He didn't even set up the experience. Cassie set up the experience. So how could he be charged with prostitution? The Mann Act, right? Now, that's one thing. Another thing it talks about with the Mann Act is that this is usually handled by state, not by federal, because each state has different statutes and different laws about prostitution in their state, right? So all of that is addressed in here, right? Then they talk about two cases in particular. One dude was a cop. This cop and this state judge, they hire these girls to come and get busy with all these other dudes. Some kind of fraternal order, whatever they got going on, called the Jesters in the Western District of New York. When they got charged, they were allowed to remain free on bail, Judge Submarinian. Even when the judge who was found guilty of the Mann Act, a white judge was found guilty of the Mann Act, he was allowed to stay out on bail until he got sentenced. Now, in this particular case, the girls that the 5-0, the cop and the judge brought were being trafficked. So not only did the 5-0 and the judge engage in the Mann Act, they were engaging in the Mann Act with trafficked women, and they were still allowed to remain free on bail. Right? Now, this is more extreme than Puffy's case because Jane Doe nor Cassie were trafficked. They were not trafficked. They were adult women who consented, were volunteers, willing participants, and wanted to do these things with Puffy. They volunteered. They called the male escorts. They set it up. Jane Doe went as far as to buy them special kind of drawers, special kind of underwear. Jane Doe said, Puffy, put them on. Jane Doe said, yo, nigga, put them on. Because I need to get aroused. So there was no trafficking, right? Then Jane Doe over here with my man, get busy with my man, Puffy over here. Puffy sitting over here. Yo, put some more baby oil on. Taking pictures. You taking pictures. It's Puffy right here. Puffy right here. All right, stop. Put your leg up on the kitchen table. Put your leg up on the kitchen table. All right, all right, all right. Move the soup. Move the cereal and the soup out the way. Stay right there. Stay right there. All right, hit it like that. Puffy wasn't even involved in the joint. He wasn't even involved. The police officer and the judge in the Trowbridge Tills case engaged in sex with the girls who were trafficked. And they were still allowed to remain out on bail, Judge Submarine. Still. They still was allowed to stay out on bail. All of that is addressed in here. Now, we want a Rule 33, Judge Submaranian. First of all, you need to come down with a Rule 29 motion of acquittal. Let's get this shit over with. Judge Submaranian, stop playing. Let's get this over with, man. This is over. They lost. Southern District of New York got beat, man. They got beat. So save them another embarrassment, right? And just acquit Puff, and let's move on. You can move on with your life. I can move on with mine. Maureen Comey can move on with her. Damian Williams will have this on his legacy and his resume and his jacket forever, but he can move on with his life, with his Harvard degree and his Yale degree. I didn't go to Harvard and Yale. The school I went to was better than Harvard and Yale. I went to the historically black college in Atlanta, Georgia called Morris Brown College. You understand? My school better than their school. And I'm better than Damian Williams. Hands down. Hands down. Ain't even close. Ain't even close. Ain't even close. Ain't even close. Judge Submaranian, come down with the Rule 29 motion, acquit Puffy. But if you're not gonna do that, then we want a Rule 33. We want a new trial. Just on the standalone Mann Act by itself. Because what the prosecution, this is, look at Puffy's team rebuttal and look at the prosecution's team rebuttal. 11 pages, 62 pages. I keep telling y'all, they killed them. In the Southern District of New York's rebuttal to continue to deny Puffy bail, there's something in a Rule 33 where it's called spillover. Spillover. So what the Southern District of New York, they can't accept the fact that they lost. See? So they're introducing arguments into their denial for Puffy's bail. What's up, man? That pertain to the RICO case and the SEX trafficking. But Puffy was acquitted of that. So none of the inflammatory evidence, none of the inflammatory testimony, nothing related to the SEX trafficking and the RICO joint can be considered when doing a bail package for the Mann Act alone. Because the Mann Act alone must stand by itself. And that's what they attempt to do here. See? But now look, if y'all want to do a retrial, let's go. We could do the retrial tonight. We can start tonight. And we gonna beat y'all again. I don't care. I don't know how many attorneys in the Southern District of New York. But you get your best. Don't bring them other ones back. We already done beat them. Y'all go and get the best assistant U.S. attorneys in the country and fly them in here. And Tenny Garagos, Mark Agnifilo, Alexander Shapiro, Xavier Donaldson, Nicole Westmoreland, Brian Steele, and Jason Driscoll, and Anna Estebeyo, and Jonathan Bach. We gonna beat them too. We gonna beat them too. Matter of fact, Matter of fact, what we want, go get the best assistant U.S. attorneys in the country and then get Damian Williams to come down here. Then get Damian Williams. Tell Damian Williams to come down here and let him try the case. Tell Damian Williams to come down here and let him be the lead prosecutor. Let him try the case. And we gonna beat him too. 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 Listen. Y'all can't beat Puffy's lawyers. Y'all can't beat them. Nobody in the Southern District of New York. Y'all can't beat them people, man. I don't care who you go get. Go get them, pull them from all over the country. The best of the best, and bring them here to New York. Bring them here to New York, and we're going to get our same team. Run it back. Move out the way. I'm finna get the rebound. Get the break. Get the break. Watch out. Get the break. Get the break. We're gonna shoot jumpers all day. So in the Southern District of New York, rebuttal. This is written. It's signed by Jay Clayton, but I don't believe Jay Clayton wrote this. I don't believe Jay Clayton got nothing to do with this. He inherited this Damian Williams mess, and just because he's the United States Attorney, his name has to automatically be affixed to the end. There are no exceptional circumstances justifying Puffy's release. Even if there were, Puffy cannot demonstrate by clear and convincing evidence that he is not a danger to the community. What community? What danger to the community are you talking about? There's two women involved. There's two women involved. What are you talking about? A danger to the community? Two women that were willing participants. This court properly denied Puffy's request for bail on July 2nd, 2025, and the defendant has failed to present any reason for the court to reconsider its ruling. The defendant's bail application pending appeal was previously denied. A renewed motion for bail is properly considered as a motion for reconsideration by the court. So one of the things, this is how weak the Southern District of New York's case is. What they cite is that there was a 14-day window after July the 2nd, 2025, so that would have took us to July 16th, 2025, to which Puffy's team would have had to file a motion to reconsider the bail package. That's the only thing that they saying as the only reason why Puffy should be denied bail. But let me ask y'all this, Southern District of New York. What about when you put Breonna Boglin on the stand and she perjured herself? What about when Capricorn Clark perjured herself? Dawn Richard perjured herself. Kid Cudi perjured herself. Mia perjured herself. You're saying to me that a 14-day window is more egregious than perjury? Southern District of New York, when Puffy was in Brooklyn, MDC, and he was meeting with his attorneys to prepare for trial. Y'all sent the COs in there to shake down the prison. After y'all shook down the whole prison for contraband, one of the dudes from MDC Brooklyn called over here to the Southern District of New York and said, do you want us to shake down Puffy's cell specifically? The Southern District of New York said yes. They went into Puffy's cell, and all of his notes that he had took with Mark Agnifilo, Tenny Garagos, Brian Steele, Anna Esteveo. The CO took his phone and took pictures. Click, click, click. Took pictures of all of Puffy's notes of his defense strategy with his attorneys, which is a violation of attorney-client privilege, and they sent it to the Southern District of New York to have before trial. That's cheating, right? That's unethical. Y'all did that, but now you want to come and talk about a 14-day window to file the motion of reconsideration. A motion for reconsideration will generally be denied unless the moving party can point to controlling decisions or data that the court overlooked, matters, in other words, that might reasonably be expected to alter the conclusion reached by the court. To warrant reconsideration, the moving party bears the heavy burden of showing an intervening change in controlling law, the availability of new evidence, or the need to correct a clear error or prevent a manifest injustice. The manifest injustice is false imprisonment of Puffy and MDC Brooklyn for being detained and locked up for the Mann Act, right? And what Judge Submaranian didn't have on July the 2nd, 2025 was the precedent cases of Tills and Trowbridge, Velasquez and Hernandez, and the other one, Clayton and Collins. Now that we have these cases, this changes everything. So this is an exceptional circumstance. The hearing may be reopened if the judicial officer finds that information exists that was not known to the movant at the time of the hearing and that has a material bearing on the issue of whether there are conditions of release that will reasonably assure the appearance of such person as required and the safety of any other person in the community. This is where it's at, Judge Submaranian, right here. Judge Submaranian, get your paperwork. Get your paperwork. Page 2, right here. On page 2, the last paragraph on page 2. All right, Judge Submaranian, let's me and you read it together. Let's go. If the judicial officer finds that information exists that was not known to the movant, Puffy's legal team, at the time of the hearing, and that has a material bearing, an important bearing on the issue of whether there are conditions of release. On July the 2nd, 2025, I'm sure that neither the prosecution nor Puffy's legal team nor the judge knew about Tills and Trowbridge, Hernandez and Velasquez, Clayton and Collins, all of these cases, because there wasn't a need to know it at that moment. But now that the research has been done, new information, the availability of new evidence has come to light about these cases of this cop and this judge who were convicted and in more serious circumstances than Puff, right, were allowed to remain free on bail. Although the cop and the judge became rats, they signed the 5K1 and agreed to cooperate so they could get a reduced sentence. They still was allowed to remain free on bail prior to cooperating. Now, In the other case, with Collins and Clayton, there was a mistrial. There was a mistrial on 3 charges, and he got convicted of the Mann Act. This was down in Mississippi. 2 white people down in Mississippi. When they got convicted, they too also was charged with SEX trafficking. Convicted of the Mann Act, he was allowed to remain free on bail until sentenced. Puffy was acquitted of SEX trafficking. What the cop and the judge was charged with and what Clayton and Collins were charged with, Puffy was acquitted of. You can't use that. The RICO he was acquitted of. You can't use that. None of the violence, because then they start to go into the violence, right? About the violence. The only violence with Jane Doe was when Jane Doe hit him first. And this is after Jane Doe starts meeting with the feds behind Puffy's back and is agreeing with the feds to cooperate against Puff. And the agents are telling her, we need you to start a fight with Puff. Jane Doe had never ever once gotten violent with Puff, never got into a big fight with Puff until after the Cassie lawsuit, and she started looking at the dollar signs, and the feds got with her and said, we need you to start trouble with Puff. And that's what she did. Prior to that, she never caused no static with Puff. The defendant has not met the requirements of the so-called safety valve, which requires Puffy to prove by clear and convincing evidence that Puffy is not a flight risk or a danger, and that exceptional reasons exist. How is he a flight risk? How? How could he be a flight risk? Why? Why would he be a flight risk? They lying. Southern District of New York is lying, y'all. They talk about, here's another point, Judge Submaranian, where they're talking about chapter 117 offenses that require mandatory detention. Chapter 117 offenses require mandatory detention. Okay? The Southern District of New York is using that argument, Judge Submaranian, to keep Puffy in MDC Brooklyn. But how come Tills and Trowbridge, the cop and the judge, those were chapter 117 offenses, they got bail? What about Clayton and Collins? Those were chapter 117 offenses, they got bail. And what the fuck is up then? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Talk to me. Talk to me. Argument is dead. What's up, man? What's going on? Yeah.
Take care.
All right, man. All right. Hey, oh, what's up, man? I thought you was somebody else. I thought you was somebody else.
That's okay.
Everything good? I seen. You too, man. All right. Finally, the court should reject Puffy's page-long recitation of historic Justice Department policy as both irrelevant and misleading. In the past, the Department of Justice had a policy specifically related to the enforcement of the Mann Act, which focused on prosecuting the Mann Act in the context of commercial cases. But the Department of Justice no longer has a specific policy related to the Mann Act. In fact, the department current guidelines includes a policy titled Prosecution of Customers Involved in Federal SEX Trafficking Offenses. This is not a SEX trafficking offense. This is not a SEX trafficking offense, Judge Submarinian, page 6. You need to disqualify this letter. This is not a SEX trafficking offense in place since December 2020, which prioritizes reducing demand for SEX trafficking. This is not SEX trafficking, this is Mann Act. There was no SEX trafficking with Jane Doe and Cassie. By prosecuting those who engage in commercial SEX with victims of SEX trafficking, including buyers of commercial sex. Puffy was not a buyer, he was a spectator. In other words, it is squarely within the priorities of the modern day Justice Department to charge the conduct described above under a variety of federal statutes, including the Mann Act, which is exactly what the government did in this case. The Southern District of New York, Judge Submarinian, page 6, second to the last paragraph. Trash. No good. No good. Page 9. Page 9. I need 500 likes. Hit that like button, y'all. Put me on 500. Page 9. Put it on page 9, y'all. Hit that like button, y'all. Thank everybody for the super chat. So, on page 9, the middle paragraph, this is where we talk about the Rule 33 spillover, right? Rule 33 spillover. The Southern District of New York, because their case is so weak and because they lost and got beat, they're going and they're bringing in testimony and acts, alleged acts that took place related to the RICO, related to the SEX trafficking. He got acquitted of those. You can't keep bringing that up, man. You lost to that. You lost to that. Y'all lost. Y'all got beat for that. So stop bringing that up. You lost. We beat you over there. You got beat. Puffy presents nothing to disturb the court's findings, nor can he. The trial record is replete with evidence of Puffy's acts of violence towards others. Puffy's decade-long relationship with Miss Ventura was defined by his repeated acts of violence and abuse. Puffy's temper and violence were unpredictable. Puffy frequently punched, kicked, and dragged Cassie, leaving her bruised and cut, with black eyes and bruised lips and busted lips. This is old testimony. This is spillover testimony, Rule 33. This abuse often occurred during freak-offs, including Puffy's assault of Miss Ventura at the Intercontinental Hotel, which was captured on video surveillance. This has nothing to do with the Mann Act. The Mann Act testimony must stand alone. We need a retrial. Cassie and other witnesses testified to numerous acts of brutality by Puffy against Cassie. In addition, Puffy was also violent towards several of Cassie's friends who witnessed his mistreatment of Cassie, including Mia, Perjury, Brianna Boglin, Perjury, and Kerry Morgan, Deontay Nash, Perjury. All of these people were brought and used as testimony for the RICO and the SEX traffic. They cannot be used for the Mann Act. Puffy was also violent toward Gina, with whom Puffy was in a relationship at the same time as Cassie. Gina, Southern District of New York, was a witness that you called. She didn't even come. A witness that you called to testify for you didn't even come. Then they redact. Look at that. Look at the government. They redact all of this. Check this part out. The government's initial view was that Puffy's guideline range was 51 months to 63 months. The government is continuing to assess the sentencing guidelines and expects that the appropriate guidelines range will be substantially higher. Y'all lying, man. Look at how they lying, man. Moreover, Puffy's endless financial means, coupled with his demonstrated ability to conceal his crimes, his past efforts to bribe security officers, as well as his general disregard for the rule of law, serve collectively to create a substantial risk of flight. They saying that Puffy's guideline range is going to be higher than 51 months to 63 months. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Puffy's guideline range is a base offense level 14. There will be no upward departures. There's no reason to. So I want to give a shout out to Puffy's lawyers. Keep doing your thing. They lost. The Southern District of New York took a loss. And you know something, man? The best thing you could do when you're a competitor, and I'm a very competitive person, when you're a competitor and you go out and you compete and you lose, right? Because no army wins every battle. No army wins every war. Even an army that wins a war loses certain battles. But when you lose the war, like what you lost, Southern District of New York, the best thing you could do when I lose, when I go up against somebody and I lose, the best thing I could do is say, yo, you got me. You got me. You admit it. That retains your respect in your own eyes as a man and also in the eyes of others as a man. It doesn't make you less of a person to admit that you lost. Because nobody wins all the time. Even Muhammad Ali lost. Everybody loses. Nobody wins every single time. Southern District of New York, y'all got beat, man. That's it. You lost. And it's over. The judge has political dreams that he wants to go after. You don't know what he got, man. You don't know what kind of dreams he got. Stop saying shit you don't know nothing about. Has anything come down Has Submarinian ruled on anything? Did anything come down about the verdict yet? About his sentencing? Nothing has come out yet, right? All right, y'all. Let me get up out of here. And I'm going to holler at y'all later, man. Did anything come out? The judge is definitely anti-Diddy. TMZ. How do you know he's anti-Diddy? You don't know he's anti-Diddy. How many days was you in the court? All right, y'all, let me get up out of here. Peace.